The wind cut across the empty street like a blade, sharp and merciless, carrying with it the kind of cold that didn't just chill the skin, it seeped into the bones, the heart, the soul. On that frozen November evening in Portland, Maine, a man named Caleb Wright stepped out of a small corner cafe, pulling his navy coat tighter as the temperature dipped lower. He had no idea that just a few feet away, tucked beside the glass storefront under the dim glow of a flickering street lamp, a young mother and her toddler were shivering silently, almost invisible to the world that had already passed them by. It wasn't the cold that hit him first. It was the look in the woman's eyes, a mixture of fear, exhaustion, and a hope so fragile it looked ready to break at the slightest touch. And in that moment, everything in his life shifted. If you believe in kindness, compassion, or second chances, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts. Caleb had always been the kind of person who noticed things others ignored. Maybe it came from losing his wife 3 years earlier, a loss that rewired him, making him see every human moment differently. Grief had softened him, sharpened him, changed him. So when he saw the young woman holding the little boy close, her arms trembling as she tried to shield him from the bitter wind, he felt something tug at him with undeniable force. Her coat was thin, her eyes were red, and the toddler, no more than 2, held onto her sweater like it was the only safe place left in the world. Caleb could tell instantly that this wasn't someone simply waiting for a ride or stepping out for air. This was someone surviving. The woman's name was Hannah Brooks, and the little boy was Evan. Hannah had come to Maine hoping for a fresh start after leaving a toxic relationship in Ohio, but life had been cruel, throwing obstacles at her faster than she could recover. The job she had lined up fell through, her savings evaporated, and her temporary housing voucher wasn't accepted where she expected. For the last 2 nights, she and Evan had been sleeping at a bus station, surviving on vending machine snacks and hope she still tried desperately to hold on to. That evening, when the bus station closed earlier than usual, she had nowhere left to go. The cold had turned dangerous. Evan had begun to cry from the chill, and Hannah, with trembling lips and numb fingers, didn't know what to do anymore. Caleb approached them slowly, not wanting to startle her. Something in the way Hannah held her son, protective, desperate, refusing to break even when she already had, struck him deeply. He remembered how his own wife used to hold their daughter that way, before sickness took both of them from him. Seeing Hannah and Evan was like witnessing ghosts of a life he once had. But it wasn't pity he felt. It was purpose. He offered them help gently, with warmth in his voice instead of judgment or intrusion. At first, Hannah almost refused. Strangers had been unkind before. People had walked around her, looked past her, pretended she didn't exist. This man looked too kind, too sincere, and that scared her more than the cold did. But then Evan shifted in her arms, his small hands trembling, and the mother in her chose trust, not for herself, but for him. Caleb brought them inside the cafe he had just left. The warmth hit them instantly, and Hannah almost cried at the feeling of heat on her face. He bought them soup, warm bread, and hot chocolate for the little boy whose cheeks slowly turned pink again. For a long time, Hannah simply held the cup close without drinking, overwhelmed by the feeling of safety she hadn't felt in months. Caleb didn't pry. He didn't interrogate. He just sat there quietly, giving her space to breathe again. As Hannah slowly opened up, she told him about the journey, the struggle, the exhaustion that never seemed to end. Caleb listened with genuine care, offering small nods and gentle reassurance. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen. Not as a burden, not as a failure, but as a human being trying her best to protect her child. Caleb didn't want the night to end with them going back into the freezing air. So with Hannah's hesitant permission, he helped them find a nearby family shelter he trusted, one that had a warm room available and staff he knew personally. He drove them there himself, making sure they checked in safely, making sure Evan had a blanket, making sure Hannah knew she wasn't alone anymore. Over the next few days, Caleb visited the shelter regularly, not out of obligation, but out of a feeling he didn't quite understand. He brought warm clothes, groceries, and small toys for Evan that made the little boy laugh with a sound so pure it felt like sunlight in winter. Hannah tried to refuse the help, embarrassed by needing so much, but Caleb never let her feel ashamed. He reminded her that everyone needs someone at some point, and accepting help didn't make her weak. It made her human. As time passed, warmth returned, not just to their hands, but to their hearts. Caleb helped Hannah apply for jobs, watched Evan while she went to interviews, and celebrated when she finally landed a position at a local bakery. He helped her find a small apartment, and even moved furniture with her on a cold Saturday morning. Every step of the way, Hannah felt something she thought she had lost forever: hope. But the remarkable thing was how the experience changed Caleb too. Helping Hannah and Evan reopened parts of him he thought were permanently closed. The laughter of a child reminded him of joy. Hannah's resilience reminded him of faith. Their bond grew naturally, beautifully, breaking the walls around each of their hearts. What began as a moment of kindness on a freezing night evolved into something deeper, something that stitched broken pieces back together on both sides. In time, they became something like a family, drawn together not by blood but by compassion, trust, and the courage to rebuild. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement truly means the world and helps these meaningful stories reach more people. Before you go, comment below. Kindness still matters.